Hello, everybody, and welcome to Command Point. I am Shane, and today we got a new FAQ slash errata. Although technically we kind of started to get it yesterday, but they only updated like two things, and then today they sort of sneaky dropped the rest of the FAQ errata. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go through it right now, and we're going to take a look at the changes, and I believe they're marked with asterisks, so we might have to dig a little, but and I'm just going to kind of explain my thoughts on some of the ones that are more important in my eyes. So let's get started. These are the core rules errata. Right at the start here, something about a charge action. Basically, if an operative has a rule that allows it to perform a charge action while within engagement range of an enemy operative, it can move out of engagement range, but must still finish that move within engagement range of at least one operative. Okay. That's like pure like bookkeeping, like making sure that, there must have been some weird interaction that I wasn't aware of. Over here, this one actually does kind of matter. Controlling objective markers, you have to add the following sentence: during operatives' activations, determine control of objective markers and tokens at the start and end of each individual action. So if you're playing on like a seized ground, for instance, and you move a model over an objective, unless you're finishing your move on that objective, you don't like gain control of it just because you passed through it. That's basically what this is saying. Nothing too crazy. Spec Ops stuff here. Not going to talk about that. Okay, so here we get into the Gallowdark terrain rules. Okay, so wall trait. Change the fourth bullet point to read: distance cannot be measured over or through wall terrain. You must measure around it using the shortest possible route. However, measure distances to areas of the kill zone through walls. Okay, so like the center of the kill zone or drop zones, but not objective markers or tokens. Okay, so basically you can't control an objective through a wall or anything like that, or a token, but for like a ploy or a tech op or a whatever, you measure distance through walls. Otherwise, certain things are just completely broken and don't really work, like central control, which was just kind of being house rolled up until now. So this is like one of the most important ones right out of the gate. We needed this, and I'm glad that they put it out there. I'm kind of sad that it wasn't already, like, this should have been immediately considered, I think, but it's good that we have it now. And then there's another thing about close quarter rules. So, add the following: some tactical ploys allow one or more operatives to be set up outside of your drop zone, like Commando Sneaky Git and Dimensional Translocation, the higher tech circle ability. And in a battle that uses close quarters rules, you cannot do so. Okay. Instead, you can only use such tactical ploys once per battle at the start of the first firefight phase, and they allow one operative specified by the ploy that is wholly within your drop zone to perform a free normal move and or operate hatch actions. Okay. Before any operatives are activated. Okay. So this is humongous. To be completely clear with you guys, I'm going to just say I wanted to make an Into the Dark tier list, but I was hoping that something would come out that would stop this commando, like Hunter Clade forward deploy nonsense, because it was like kind of bordering on completely broken on certain missions. This, I think, this is actually like possibly more important than the other one. This needed to get changed. Commandos dropping two guys on mid objectives that they can pick up and then immediately run away with at the start of the game. Absolutely broken. I'm really glad that that's not a thing. And I'm sure there's a lot of interesting play here with ploys that do that now that instead it's a free normal move and basically open a door to get you to start it out. I mean, for some things like Wormblade, there's setups where this is actually better, because you're not giving up your cult ambush and stuff like that. So yeah, kind of interesting. Anyway, let's move on to the next one, which is designer's commentary, core roles. Let's see, is there anything new here? Am I missing anything? Okay, here we go. If an operative's characteristics are modified during an action, does that impact the action it's currently performing? For example, if an operative's movement characteristic is modified during a normal move action as a result of being injured. No. So modifiers are applied after the action is complete. Good to know. Some rules clarify that a modifier should only be applied if an enemy operative is activated within X of the relevant operative, like the Rust Emanations, Gallowdark's ploy. Only subtract circle from their movement characteristic as a result of being injured if they are activated within engagement range of that enemy operative. What does this mean? Do not apply that specific modifier unless the operative is activated within X. Okay, I mean, that should be clear, I think. I mean, it does say it. But I guess that was a question. What else do we have here? Nothing new there. Here we go. Here's something. Does an action performed when and this is under general principles. Does an action performed when an operative hasn't been activated count as an activation? Overwatch or free dash action? No. Okay. I don't know. Off the top of my head, I can't think of what that affects, but I'm certain that it affects something. Let's keep going. Right here, if an operative carrying an objective marker or token loses the ability to perform the pickup action during the battle, like the Legionary Anointed, what happens to the objective marker? Okay, they must drop it. I don't think that's come up in a game of mine, but that's good to know. The Anointed with a banner was probably a very annoying thing to play against. But that makes sense to me. Okay, next up. If an operative performs an action during another action, like an operate hatch action during a normal move action, when can they be interrupted for things like a guard attack or the track target action? After that operative performs any action, even if another action is ongoing. So basically, if they're in the middle of a move and they open a door, you can shoot them after the door opens, even if they're not done with their move. This is how I understood it. This is how a lot of people understood it. I think it's probably good that we have the clarification. I don't know how super necessary it was, but somebody was probably arguing about that somewhere. So let's just be happy that it's in here. For the plant banner tack up, can an operative that cannot perform the pickup action be selected to carry the banner token? No. Also a good clarification. Sentries, I'm just going to skip it. Duel of Wits mission. Do players have to select different objective markers to be a priority objective marker? Yes. Ooh, that's really unfortunate. It was played the opposite way. This mission, I mean, this is an open board mission, so people aren't thinking about it a lot right now, but in my opinion, the fact that you were able to select the same one made that mission better and a little bit less swingy. Now this basically means that initiative has a slightly bigger role. If you have a bad board state, good luck. You have to pick two. Gambits, basically. This sucks. I don't like this. Whatever. It's whatever. I don't really see this played in a lot of tournaments anyway. I don't usually play it in the tournaments that I run. Yeah. Okay, what else do we have here? Is there another? Okay, there's a few more here in the designer's commentary. On mission maps that use Killzone, this one is first. In Killzone Gallowdark, the wall trait says operatives cannot move over or through wall terrain regardless of any other rules other than as a result of the accessible trait. Do you really mean this? Or can operatives move through walls as a result of rules like breach and breach point? Yes, we really mean this, as unique as it might seem. I like the sass there. Kind of funny. Yeah, though, they're basically saying you can't go through walls with your Breacher Boy on Into the Dark. This is, I know people are mad about this, and that like it happened in a bat rep. Don't listen to anything that Warhammer community does in those videos because none of those people know the actual rules to the game. This is like not the first time this has happened. And some people were annoyed about this, the fact that you can't, the Breacher Boy can't breach, the Hatch Cutter can't actually go through walls. Guys, trust me. This is for the best. I have maybe I'll do a video about it sometime, but I've looked through every like board on Matched Play and kind of looked at the possibilities of what would happen if you could go through walls, and it's not fun. I don't think it would make the game better. This is a good thing in my eyes, a very good thing. Granted, it was already being played like this in tournaments, but settle the debate right now. It's not allowed. Cool. On mission maps that use a Killzone Gallowdark, does the position of hatchways indicate which direction the hatch should open in? No. They simply identify the orientation of long walls of the hatchways. Okay. In Killzone Gallowdark, does the hatch of an open hatchway provide cover, and is it obscuring? So that's the door. itself when it's open, I think. Yes. Treat cover lines that go underneath it as crossing it. That makes sense because it does float above the ground a little bit. In Kills on Gallowdark, how do you resolve rules that require an operative to be within a certain distance of heavy terrain? Resolve this by only using pillars and wall ends. And heavy terrain from... Okay. That's a pretty big deal. This is like maybe not going to get talked about a lot, but this is a pretty huge thing, actually. Because before there was kind of a misunderstanding about like everything is heavy, right? Like every wall is heavy. So any rule that requires you to be within an inch of heavy terrain is like very easy to fulfill on Into the Dark. But now they've kind of tightened the requirements for that on Into the Dark. So this is only working on pillars and wall ends. Okay. Still pretty easy, but I think this is probably a good change. Close quarters. How does the guard action work when the operative must perform a shoot action with a specific weapon, like a bolter discipline? Okay. The operative can perform the guard action as long as the relevant weapon is selected if it performs Overwatch or point-blank Overwatch during the subsequent guard attack. Okay. That's good. Some people are speculating that this doesn't work with like bolter discipline because you're making a shoot action as your second, with guard, and it might be your second shoot action, and maybe it doesn't work because you're not shooting a bolt weapon at that moment. But that's good. They've clarified that now. I approve that ruling. Can an operative equipped with a ranged weapon that has the heavy special rule perform a normal move, fallback, or charge action, then perform a guard action in the same activation? If so, could it subsequently use the... Yes. Okay. This is good. You're already allowed to Overwatch with heavy weapons if you've moved. So, I mean, this makes sense to me. When you do a guard action, you're not selecting a weapon profile. So the restrictions of heavy never come into play. So that is the correct ruling, in my opinion. I'm glad they did that. Question: if an operative incapacitates an enemy operative in a hatchway fight action, can rolls that take effect when an enemy operative is incapacitated in combat with an engagement range or 1 inch still work, like Robin Ransack? Yes. Good. I'm glad. That would be a really feel bad way to not get attack up. Can an operative perform a hatchway fight action as a guard action, or as a guard attack, as a hatchway fight is treated as a fight? Yes. Okay. That makes sense as well. A lot of these things, guys, are things that were already kind of understood. There's a few nuggets in here that are really important, like like this one here about like what is heavy terrain. That's important because that's going to be a new thing that we have to consider. But a lot of this stuff, it's just clarifications on things that we already kind of assumed. So yeah, let's move on. Corsairs here have something. For the purpose of plunderers, how do you determine the close objective marker if one or more hatchways are closed? Always determine as if all hatchways are open. Very good. Commandos. What do we got here? Page 41. Blow it up. This tack up is not in use. It just doesn't work. That's probably good. This shouldn't work. It's just they didn't think about this when they made these rules. That's okay. That's good. Next up, we're speeding through these ones. Commando designer's commentary. This did not get clarified. Nothing new here. Legionary. I don't think anything changed here. Oh no, there's something here. Dark Desecration. Not in use. Okay, so a couple tac ops are just not available in Into the Dark. Interesting. Legionary designer's commentary. How do interruptions after an operative performs an action work with a perpetual aggression strategic ploy? Treat the move as a separate action. Okay. Interesting. So you can kind of like hit them with your guard shots after perpetual aggression. That's interesting. Here's Pathfinder's close quarters. Purpose of determining if one less attack dice is rolled as a result of the condensed environment roll when a drone operative is protecting a friendly operative as a result of safety protocols. You draw cover lines to the protected operative or the drone. The protected. That makes sense to me because the drone is like, in the mind's eye, the drone is like jumping in front or flying in front. I don't know. Phobos. He infiltrator helix adept combat restoratives ability. Change the relevant part of the first sentence to read: the first time another friendly Phobos strike team. Okay, so he can't revive himself. Voxbreaker. Change this action to an ability. It doesn't cost AP. Whoa. Okay. I mean, so this is an errata, but this is just a buff. They just like sneak buffed. This is like a stealth buff. I mean, it's not even like an incidental buff. They just straight up put a buff for Phobos in the errata. That's not really how we do things. We have a data slate now, a balanced data slate, but okay. I mean, Phobos need it. No argument for me there. What else we got? In Cursory Mind Layer, we keep having to change things with this guy. Change the stun critical hit roll to the following. Interference. Each time a friendly operative makes a shooting attack with this weapon, in the roll attack dice step of that shooting attack, if you retain any critical hits, the target cannot move any further during this activation. Subtract 1 from the remaining action points during the target has for this activation, if any. If it's outside of the target's activation, subtract 1 from the number of action points it generates in its next activation. Note that this is not a modifier to the target's AP. Okay. So that's different. I think it's better. Seems pretty much better to me. So again, pretty sure we're just buffing Phobos and the errata now. Oh yeah, and look at that. Shock grenades are now 2 EP. So yeah, triple buffs for Phobos and the errata. Weird. Now I'm kind of curious what else is in here. Phobos designer's commentary. If I interrupt an enemy operative's activation with track target, but then cannot complete the Overwatch action. There's no valid targets. It's a blinding aura. Can I interrupt again in the turning point? Does it remain? Yes. Okay. Good. Okay, so blinding aura doesn't like delete your track target. Good to know. Event guard. If a tactical asset is used but there are no valid targets for it to be resolved, can I cancel the asset and use it again later? Yes. Okay, I think that's like another blinding aura thing, actually. Void Dancer Troop. Nothing here. Anything here? Nope. Warp Coven, errata, nope. We're almost to the end, guys. We're almost there. Warp Coven. With the changes to the Exalted Astartes strategic point in the balanced data slate, can a gunner operative perform a shoot action then a guard action? Yes. If one additional action point is okay, yeah, they're just making a clarification on that. Wormblade. Okay. For the purpose of the Cult Ambush ability, when a Wormblade operative makes multiple shooting attacks from one shoot action, do the rerolls apply to all of the shooting attacks or just the first one? All of them. This is okay. It took so long to get this ruling. I've been explaining this to people for so long. Yes, Cult Ambush is tied to the action, not the individual attack. So if you make a shoot action with a grenade launcher and you have Cult Ambush and Coiled Serpent and stuff, those buffs apply to the whole action, meaning the initial attack and any subsequent blast attacks that come from that initial shooting attack. I'm glad that they clarified this. They've been making rulings that I don't like on Wormblade for so long that I'm just relieved to see one that I don't hate. Let's move on. Gallowdark, nothing. Actually, that was something, but it was about Vulgar being a narrative thing. Imperial Navis Breachers, clarifying that's a melee weapon. Oh yeah, this is already. Let's take a look. Yeah, so stuff that treats group GA1 turns off breach and clear. Good to know. There's not a lot of that, so it's not going to come up super often. Intercession Squad. If a role treats an operative as being injured regardless of any rules that say they cannot be injured, such as the Rust Emanation strategic play, does Methodical Chapter Tactics still ignore Ballistic Skill and Weapon Skill? No. Nor should it, because I believe the Rust Emanations play is extremely specific about like ignoring other rules that would like overriding other rules that normally stop them from being like injured or something, or having those penalties. If an Intercession Squad operative is incapacitated during its activation, can I use the Wrath of Vengeance tactical play freely, or do action restrictions still apply? Action restrictions still apply. So if you've already done 2 shoot actions and you have Bolter Discipline, you can't do it. That's good to know. Star Striders. If a privateer support asset is used but there are no valid targets for it to be resolved, can I cancel the asset and use it again later? Yes. Okay, same as the Vet Guard ruling. When using the well-drilled tactical ploy, can I select another ready friendly operative as required, but then subsequently use a privateer support asset? Okay, no, that makes sense. You can't GA2 with that tactical ploy and then actually use your artillery. Narrative nonsense, not going to address it. Farstalker Kinband, piercing shot and toxin shot. Okay, so the pistol no longer gets infinite range with piercing shot. Makes sense. Makes me sad, but it totally makes sense. And then does the mercenary contract tactical ploy allow you to select a TAC op from any unselected archetype or only from the unselected archetype the kill team has access to? Any. This is how I've understood it. This is how I've kind of argued that it should be played, and I'm really happy. If they had ruled the other way, that would have been a huge nerf to Farstalker, who I already think are kind of on the weaker end. This helps them a ton. So thank goodness. All right. The marathon is over, guys. We've gotten through it. That is the new FAQ / errata. That's pretty much every ruling that I touched on. If you guys think I misread something or misunderstood something, let me know in the comments below. Let me know what you guys think about these changes, or are there any things that you guys wish were added in that didn't, things that you wanted clarified that just weren't included in here. Put it down in the comments so that I can see it, so that everybody else can see it. As always, thank you to our subscribers. You guys are the best. If you've stumbled upon this video and are not a subscriber, please consider giving us a subscribe. We upload Kill Team content on the reg. And as always, shout out to our patrons over at patreon.com/commandpoint. You guys are awesome. If you're not subscribed to our Patreon, that's okay. But if you are interested, potentially, it's as low as $1 a month, and you'll just help us out a little bit and keep the lights on here at Command Point. So, as always, this is Shane talking about the new FAQ. Signing out.